A very good evening, viewers. You're watching 6 Story at 6 with me, Rakshita Mishra. This is the Saturday edition of this show. We start with the much-awaited high-stake Trump-Putin meet in Alaska. All that you need to know, there's been no deal that has been struck, but we'll tell you the key takeaways from that. Also, story number 2 is Donald Trump making a claim yet again. This time it is on India-Russia oil deal. Somebody apparently told him that Russia has lost its oil client, that is India. India supposedly has stopped taking oil from Russia. That's what Trump is claiming. All right, also on the show we have the Space Heroes Homecoming Group. Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is returning to India, and we'll tell you all that you need to know about his visit, or rather homecoming. Also, Kishtwar in Jammu and Kashmir, viewers, grapples in the aftermath of the deadly cloud burst. There are hundreds that are still missing. We'll get you a ground report from Kishtwar. Also, there's an unfortunate incident once again. No end to these hit-and-run cases. This time, a latest case coming in from the national capital. Also, Mumbai is on red alert. 2 lives have been lost in a landslide, and floods continue to push Mumbai in a deluge. We start with the story number 1, viewers. This is from Alaska. The world waited with a bated breath as US President Donald Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin met in Alaska. The much-anticipated summit began with a warm welcome and a flyover by screaming jets at a US military base. But this ended in a no ceasefire, no deal. Just hours later, Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the same Zelensky who he had humiliated in the White House, he said that he had a long and substantive conversation with him, and now all eyes will be on the Trump-Zelensky meeting in Washington, D.C. that could happen in 2 days from now. Let's take a look at what really transpired in the past 24 hours.
No deal, no ceasefire, no breakthrough. And that's how the much-anticipated meeting between US President Donald Trump and Russian President ended earlier today. Russian President received a carefully choreographed welcome that included a red carpet and a B-2 bomber fly past. The world leaders stood shoulder to shoulder, shook hands, and headed off to start the discussions. The world waited with bated breath. In a brief statement later, Putin spoke of unspecified agreements, while Donald Trump called the meeting extremely productive. But crucially, none of them announced a halt to the fighting between Russia and Ukraine.
We had some good meetings over the years, right? Good productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that in the future. But let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon, and probably see you again very soon.
И вот сегодня мы слышим, когда президент Трамп говорит, что если бы я был президентом, то войны бы не было. Я думаю, что так бы на самом деле и случилось. Я подтверждаю это, потому что в целом у нас с президентом Трампом наладился очень хороший деловой и доверительный контакт, и у меня есть все основания полагать, что, двигаясь по этому пути, мы можем дойти и чем быстрее, тем лучше, до завершения конфликта на Украине.
Donald Trump later said that the onus now lies with Ukraine's President Zelensky to build on Alaska summit and secure a deal. Hours later, Donald Trump and Zelensky spoke at length and will be meeting in Washington, D.C. on Monday. A trilateral meeting between Russian President, US President and Ukrainian President is also being explored. But for now, the attention has turned to the next round of talks, this time between Donald Trump and Zelensky in 2 days.
So, of course, the entire world had its eyes, and there are multiple reactions that have come in also, but it all boils down to what really happens with the meeting as far as Ukrainian president is concerned. Viewers, remember, there is also this talk about how it impacts India. Now, viewers, remember, the tariff trade has tariff threat continues from Donald Trump, and it has significantly been an attempt to hurt India. Now, Donald Trump, after this meeting, or before rather, in an interview, had issued a warning to Russia and his allies, claiming that his tariffs on India significantly hurt Russian oil market, and he's stirring the pot on the global stage once again. Trump claims that 25% of tariff on India has now led to Russia losing a major oil client, that is India. Who is telling Trump that India has stopped taking oil or reduced its oil supply from Russia? That, of course, is a matter of great curiosity. Remember, Trump is known to make unverified and baseless claims when it comes to even ceasefires. And this time again, he's made this claim in an interview, boasting that how his tariffs had pushed India not buying Russian oil.
President Trump's strong-arming tactic with India has been framed as a major blow to Russia's oil business. Trump claims that his 25% tariff threat on India has forced Moscow to lose a crucial customer.
Well, he lost an oil client, so to speak, which is India, which was doing about 40% of the oil.
In response, Indian officials have firmly denied any shift in their energy policy. A.S. Sani, the chairman of Indian Oil Corporation, clarified that there is no pause in Russian oil imports and emphasized that purchasing decisions are guided by economic rationale. Meanwhile, Trump also floated the idea of secondary sanctions against countries like China, which continue to buy Russian oil.
China, as you know, is doing a lot, and others have another few countries. And if I did what's called a secondary sanction or a secondary tariff, it would be, very devastating from their standpoint. If I have to do it, I'll do it. Maybe I won't have to do it.
While Trump called his upcoming meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin productive,
We had some good meetings over the years, right? Good productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that in the future. But let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon.
the reality is that no formal deal has been reached, leaving many to wonder, is Trump's pressure strategy really working? Or is it just a political gamble with uncertain returns? With little progress to show from his talks with Putin so far, the question remains, is this economic pressure strategy really the best path forward? Or is it simply stirring up more conflict than it resolves?
Trump's baseless claims continue, of course, as India continues to stand its ground and make forays, make strides in the economy and also in space, as it just did a few weeks ago. It was Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who was after he recorded that historic feat in space. He's all set to arrive back home in India just a few hours from now. Tomorrow is the day when he'll be returning back to India, and he's likely to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and apprise him of his experiences that will help India in its maiden human space flight program to the International Space Station. And besides this, he will also participate in the National Space Day celebrations that falls on the 23rd of August. Here's a report.
India's space hero, astronaut Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, is returning back home. After his historic 18-day visit to International Space Station, Shubhanshu Shukla is on his way back home nearly a year after he left for training in Houston, Texas. Shubhanshu announced his homecoming through a social media post with a smiling photograph of himself sitting in an airplane. He expressed having mixed emotions running through his heart in the caption. He says that while he felt sad for leaving his team behind that supported him during the training and mission, and excited about returning home and meeting his family and friends who are thrilled by his success. Shubhanshu's sister, Shuchi Mishra, expressed the joy and pride they feel for his extraordinary achievement and success.
दिन का बहुत बहुत इंतज़ार कर रहे थे और आज वो लौट रहे हैं और हम बहुत एक्साइटेड हैं कि हम वहाँ जा रहे हैं एंड उनको देखने का बहुत मन कर रहा है। बस वेट कर रहे हैं कि उनकी शक्ल देखें और उनसे मिलें, सबसे पहले उनसे गले मिलें और उनको मुबारकबाद दें कि उन्होंने इतना बड़ा काम किया देश के लिए एंड उसके लिए बहुत प्राउड फील कर रही हूँ। अभी तो ये एक्साइटमेंट है कि कैसे भी पहुँचना है, बस हमें वहाँ पर समहाउ, और हम उसकी तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
खुद आप कार चला के जाएंगे?
जी बिल्कुल, मैं ड्राइव करके जा रही हूँ।
Shubhanshu's homecoming was hailed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his Independence Day address.
स्पेस सेक्टर का कमाल तो हर देशवासी देख रहा, गर्व से भर जा रहा, और हमारे ग्रुप कैप्टन शुभांशु शुक्ला स्पेस स्टेशन से लौट चुके हैं।
While Shukla was in space, PM Modi assigned him a homework that he should document the entire sequence of his training and stay at the space station for what would become the handbook for India's own Gaganyaan program or its first human space flight program.
आप तो मुझे भली भांति जानते हैं, जब भी किसी से बात होती है तो मैं होमवर्क जरूर देता हूं। हमें मिशन गगनयान को आगे बढ़ाना है, हमें अपना खुद का स्पेस स्टेशन बनाना है और चंद्रमा पर भारतीय एस्ट्रोनॉट की लैंडिंग भी करानी है। इन सारे मिशंस में आपके अनुभव बहुत काम आने वाले हैं। मुझे विश्वास है आप वहां अपने अनुभवों को जरूर रिकॉर्ड कर रहे होंगे।
जी प्रधानमंत्री जी, बिल्कुल, ये पूरा मिशन की ट्रेनिंग लेने के दौरान और एक्सपीरियंस करने के दौरान जो मुझे लेसन्स मिले हैं, जो मुझे सीख मिली है, वो सब एक स्पॉन्ज की तरह मैं एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा हूँ और मुझे यकीन है कि ये सारी चीज़ें बहुत वैल्यूएबल प्रूव होंगी, बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट होंगी हमारे लिए जब मैं वापस आऊँगा।
Shukla is now set to see PM Modi and then fly to his hometown, Lucknow. He is due to return to the capital to attend the National Space Celebrations on August 22 and 23. From the space station to the hearts of millions of Indians, Shubhanshu Shukla has become a symbol of India's rising power in space exploration, inspiring a generation of young dreamers looking up at the stars.
And in the latest update, we have the information that Dr. Jitendra Singh, who is the Minister of State for Science and Technology, will be receiving Shubhanshu Shukla, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla at the airport, and he will be also his homecoming and his historic feat in space will be discussed in the Parliament also today. So this is the latest update we have, and we'll keep a close eye on that also. We were shifting focus to the other story on 6 Stories at 6 now. It's a journey of faith that turned into a nightmare in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar district. On Thursday, as hundreds of pilgrims gathered at the Chashoti village for the visit to shrine, Mata Machai, massive cloudburst swept them away, killing 50, at least 35, and injuring many, many more. In fact, more than 100 are still missing. The relatives are waiting to get information on their loved ones. NDRF, SDRF, the Indian Army and police teams are at the spot, digging through the debris to bring out those buried inside. Watch this ground report for more.
Devotion turned into despair. Tragedy struck without warning. It began as a day of faith. Hundreds of pilgrims walked the rugged path towards Machel Mata Shrine in Jammu and Kashmir. Langars fed the tired. Vehicles lined the roadside. Some stood on a narrow wooden bridge to watch the stream. Others sat sharing meals on the ground. Then, a roar from the skies, a cloud burst, and within minutes, the peace was shattered. A wall of slush, mud, boulders, and fallen trees rushed down the valley. The langar swept away, vehicles half buried in mud. The CISF camp vanished in the raging torrent. 53 among 2 Jawans dead. More than 100 still missing. Hundreds injured.
The relief and the rescue operations in the Kishtwar cloudburst are continuing, and now the DGP of the Jammu and Kashmir Police, Nalin Prabhat, has arrived at the rescue operation site, wherein he is being briefed by the SSP Kishtwar and IGP Jammu Zone. Important to mention that more than 50 people have lost their life in this tragic incident that was reported in the afternoon of 14th of August, and now the searches are underway for those who are still missing. As per the Jammu and Kashmir police data, the 69 people are said to be missing, while when it comes to the locals account, they say that 200 people, somewhere around 200 people, they are still missing, and these areas have been worst affected by these flash floods.
Rescue teams, NDRF, SDRF, the army and the police are digging through the rubble, hoping, searching and praying. NDRF dogs, Cherry and Lakshay, are now carrying out searches in the areas where people are believed to be buried under the debris.
किश्तवाड़ में जारी रिलीफ और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में अब एनडीआरएफ की तरफ से 2 स्पेशल डॉग्स जो हैं, जो इनकी केनाइन स्क्वाड है, उसे लगाया जा रहा है। ये जो है, ये लक्ष्य है और ये चेरी है। इन दोनों को अब रिलीफ और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशंस पे लगाया जाएगा, ताकि अगर कोई व्यक्ति जिंदा जो है ज़मीन में फंसा हुआ है तो उसे निकाला जा सके। लगातार बारिश से जो है इस ऑपरेशन में काफ़ी ज़्यादा चुनौतियाँ आई हैं, लेकिन सभी चुनौतियों से पार पाते हुए सुरक्षा बल लगातार जिंदगियों की तलाश में है, और इस सब तलाश में 2 नए नाम शामिल हुए हैं। वो हैं चेरी और लक्ष्य, जिन्हें की खास तौर पर यह सिखलाई दी जाती है कि अगर धरती के नीचे भी कोई जिंदा व्यक्ति हो तो उसकी जो बॉडी हीट है उसकी वजह से ये लोग जो हैं उसे डिटेक्ट कर पाते हैं। यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे तो सैलाब आया था, सैलाब की वजह से काफ़ी ज़्यादा नुकसान जो है वो यहाँ पर हुआ था।
According to the eyewitnesses, hundreds of people had gathered in the 300-meter area near Choti, where the flash floods occurred.
जब यह हादसा हुआ तो इस समय काफ़ी लोग यहाँ, एक लंगर जो अभी देख रहे हैं जहाँ पे ऑपरेशन चल रहा है, तो वहाँ पे लंगर था, वहाँ पे लोगों के खाने की सुविधाएं थी, उसकी सिक्योरिटी, और आगे एक ब्रिज था, वहाँ पे सीआई सब डिप्लॉयड थी, और आगे इन रूट भी डिप्लॉयड थी, और सीआई सब के एक कैंप यहाँ पे और लंगर की सिक्योरिटी के लिए यहाँ पे डिप्लॉयमेंट था। तो उस दौरान एकाएक जब फ्लैश फ्लड हुआ, उसके साथ आप देख रहे इतने बड़े बड़े बोल्डर्स आए हैं, हिट किए हैं कैंप को, हिट किए हैं लंगर को, और इवन हिट किया है उस ब्रिज को।
In minutes, faith turned into fury and lives were swept away.
Viewers, imagine stopping at a red light, waiting calmly on your motorcycle, and in the very next second being crushed by an SUV, a speeding SUV from behind. That is what happened to 40-year-old Bechu Lal in West Delhi's Moti Nagar. Another case of hit and run that has left the city shaken.
Another day, another hit and run case in the national capital. A 40-year-old man, Bechu Lal, lost his life after a speeding Thar crashed into his motorcycle in West Delhi's Moti Nagar. Bechu Lal had stopped his motorcycle behind a truck when the speeding SUV rammed into him from behind. The impact was so intense that he died on the spot. His motorcycle was crushed beyond recognition. After mowing him down, the Thar climbed onto the footpath, crashed into an electric pole, and finally came to a halt a few meters ahead. The driver abandoned the vehicle and fled from the spot.
Another hit and run case has come to light from the national capital's Moti Nagar area. Right now you can see we are at the very spot at Moti Nagar foot-over bridge area where this unfortunate incident took place, in which one person has lost his life last night at around 1 a.m. when that unfortunate incident took place, in which what we have seen, a person who was driving this Thar vehicle, that SUV vehicle, basically rammed onto this pavement, and when he lost the control, here you can see when his car started skidding, and then he basically jumped onto this pavement, and after that basically he tried to take control of the car, but he was so much in an inebriated condition, he was so much drunk that he lost the complete control on that vehicle, and after that what we have is seen that that vehicle basically rammed into this this portion. Here you can say this is the deformed structure of this park, the outer portion of this park, where that vehicle basically rammed into this into this vehicle that was parked over here. As of now, no persons have been arrested, but if you see, this is not the first time that such kind of incidents took place. Earlier what we have seen that few days back on Mother Teresa Road, and another incident took place in which a SUV driver, a third driver basically, ran onto the pavement where two persons were standing, in which what we have got to know that they also lost their lives.
Police have recovered the vehicle and are now scanning nearby CCTV footage to find out the speed and identify the accused. A case has been filed and the hunt is on to trace the driver behind the wheel of this killer SUV. Another life lost, another driver on the run. Hit and run cases continue to haunt Delhi's roads.
And viewers, Mumbai is once again at the mercy of the monsoon. Relentless rains have triggered a deadly landslide too in Vikhroli and has claimed 2 lives at least, and has brought the city to a standstill once again, as it seems to be every year. From flooded tracks, waterlogged roads, disrupted flights, emergency alerts, the city is struggling to cope with yet another monsoon onslaught. To make the case worse, the IMD has now issued a red alert warning of more torrential rainfall as well. BMC has taken cognizance of the current situation, asking the Mumbaikars to take all guard protection. Here's more on that.
A deadly landslide adding to Mumbai's mounting monsoon misery. As heavy rains continue to batter the city, tragedy struck Mumbai's eastern suburb of Vikhroli early Saturday morning. A landslide at Varshanagar in Parkside crushed a hut under debris from a hillock collapse. 2 people were killed and 2 others injured. As the city reeled from the loss, its transport backbone collapsed. Flooded tracks at Dadar, Kurla, Sion, Chunabati and Tilaknagar brought both central and western suburban services to a standstill, leaving thousands of daily commuters stranded. On the roads too, there was little respite. Heavy waterlogging on arterial stretches, including Sion and the SCLR bridge, brought traffic to a halt for hours. It's not just Mumbai. Neighbouring Navi Mumbai is also underwater. In Vashi, entire stretches of road have disappeared under floodwaters.
मुंबई में जोरदार बारिश हो रही है और कई इलाकों में पानी भर गया है। मैं इस समय साइन इलाके के गुलमोहर रोड पे हूँ, तस्वीरें दिखा रहा हूँ किस तरह से घुटनों से ज़्यादा पानी भर गया है। देखिए सामने किस तरह से जो शख्स आ रहे हैं, 2 घुटनों से ज़्यादा पानी भरा हुआ है। जो बिल्डिंग है, बिल्डिंग के आसपास पूरा पानी भर गया। सामने देखिए गाड़ी जो आ रही है, बिल्डिंग के अंदर भी पानी घुस चुका है। लगातार जोरदार बारिश हो रही है मुंबई में। बारिश होने की वजह से जो मुंबई के निचले इलाके हैं वहाँ पर पानी भर गया है। लगातार बारिश हो रही है। बीती रात से मुंबई में अलग अलग इलाकों में पानी भर गया है। वहीं मौसम विभाग कहा है कि अगले 24 घंटों में मुंबई में जोरदार बारिश हो सकती है। रेड अलर्ट जारी किया है, लोगों को घर से ना निकलने कहा गया है।
Flight operations too came under strain. Indigo issued an advisory asking passengers to allow more travel time and to check flight statuses before heading to the airport. The IMD has sounded a red alert, saying its satellite data shows very intense convection over Mumbai and surrounding regions, a sign that the worst may not be over yet. The BMC says its emergency staff, engineers and pump operators are working round the clock to keep the city's drainage system functional under pressure. With lives lost, homes submerged and warnings in place, Mumbai stares at yet another challenging day this monsoon.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of 6 Stories at 6. Lots more lined up for you on the other side. Thank you for watching.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH। भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना। थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आरती और मसाला। Play it your way. Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।